Arise, minions, and welcome to unMadeGaming. We are here for another episode of Atari Twilight 88. We are back with everyone here involved, and if you like what we do here and you want to support the channel, join us on Patreon, link for that down below, or subscribe here on Twitch, link for that down below as well. And if you'd like to be a part of the conversation, hop in the Discord, hang out with us. And before I turn things over as quickly as possible to Greg, you will see in the bottom left-hand corner the corruption bar. That bar serves two purposes. One is when that bar fills, Greg gets to do what the hell he wants to us, which has been tragic so far. And two, that every single dollar that goes into that bar goes back to these wonderful, amazing faces that you see here before you. That being said, I'm about to link the playlist, so get your playlists ready, and we will get that going. While I'm doing that, I will toss things over to Greg to take us back into the 80s.
Thank you very much, my friends, and everybody, welcome back to 1988 in the 80s that never was, here in Garrett, Maryland for our Atari Twilight campaign powered by Free League. Before we get into it, and as we always usually say, we have to go backwards to go forwards, but this is a continuation. We usually have about, one of these a season. We're going to start exactly where we left off last time, and to put it into perspective and to sum up as quickly as possible, the group has gone to an outdoor festival / bar area called Stonehenge. The reason for going there, Veronica Kirkshaw, older sister of Sam, revealed to the group that she was able to see these air quote Decepticons that had plagued our heroes last season. She wanted to go somewhere where there was a large congregation of people in the hopes of being able to identify them and have one of the other members of the group tell her who they were pretending to be, because once they revealed themselves to her as a Decepticon, she couldn't see who they were trying to dress up as. So everybody tried to sneak in. Some succeeded, one failed. One decided to head north on a motorbike. We're going to pick up right where we left off. It is the evening of October 7th, Friday, 1988. The band is beginning to play, but we're going to play with time ourselves a little bit as we jump back and forth between a span of about 60 to 90 seconds. But before we start, and as we often always do, just to set the mood a bit, if you could cue up the Song of Shannon. It is Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, I Hate Myself for Loving You. And as we cue up that classic rock song now, which is sad to say, being it's only 80s, but we look down on Garrett, Maryland. As we've said before, usually we have a bird's eye view that circles upon the small burg, goes in and out of the various buildings and haunts that we've become aware of, settles on different areas and leads us to the action. But here and tonight, the action is already taking place. And so again, as we did last week, we dive down into the darkened village, and just outside of Stonehenge, heading north, 3 motorbikes are cutting through the fields and farms of this area. In the motorbike in the middle and slightly in the front is Shannon, flanked on either side, her former friends, maybe still friends, Dutch to the left, and Barney, known as Nee, to the right. As they are racing, or as they are riding, Dutch looks over and says to Shannon over the roar of the bikes, "Race?"
Shannon grins, and he knows this well enough. I think at that point he knows what that means with her, if it's him. If not, then
okay. So as the motorbikes rev up, and as we see the competition in the eyes of Dutch and Nee, what I would like you to do here is roll me let's settle on something, Meta.
Okay.
What would you like your skill to be for riding the bike? I believe last season we did move, but I can be swayed either way.
Good question. I don't know. We did have move last one. I'm not technically riding my dirt bike though, so I don't get the bonus from that. So
If you want to keep with move, I'm certainly
probably
open
makes
to it.
the most sense, I guess. Well, I don't
Okay.
know. It's because it's not my physical body moving. I'm not sure.
Sure. So let's
Good
see.
question.
I was gonna say let's settle in on something here because this can be. I would take anything from even if this is an outward expression of the way that Shannon conducts herself. You know, the bike being an extension of the attitude and the persona that she's very, very delicately constructed. I would even go as far as to take something like a charm or even an empathize. If that's something that you would like to explore, that's fine. If not, let's just roll a move and see where we go from there.
Okay. Let's stick with move for now and then
Okay.
maybe. Okay. Move it is.
Let's go with move. Okay, so as you go, immediately both Dutch and Nee pull ahead of you. And Knee's a little bit closer, but Dutch is taking almost a full bike length as you kind of tear down this first area, leaving the plateau that Stonehenge is on a bit. Stonehenge kind of rises up, and then it's kind of a dip all the way around it. But as you head north and are dipping down, Dutch takes a full bike length in front of you. He looks over his right shoulder at you, and he says, "You beat me, and I'll tell you everything." And he tears off, and you see the straw and the dry grass kind of fly back at you a little bit. Make me another move roll as he tries to create some distance.
Okay. Nope.
You can push, I will always mention. I don't know if you would like to do so. A condition would be in play if you were to fail again.
Let me refresh roll 20 first before I do that.
Sure.
It's the curse of roll 20. If I do two bad ones back to back like that.
Every little bit helps.
Yep. It's just a superstition, but I don't care. All right, I will do a pushed roll because she's very motivated about trying to beat him. Please, dice, don't screw me over. One success.
Okay, and one is all you need. So as you kind of pull back up and you take the straw and the grass that's thrown in your face in the dust, and you pull back up so you're getting closer to the rear wheel that is Dutch's bike. Barney starts to fall back a little bit. So now you're kind of racing. If we're looking at a drone's eye view, it would be almost a diagonal of Dutch, you, and Nee as you are racing down this area. But somewhere just a couple hundred yards behind you, we have the pin drop as the drummer raises her hand and the entire crowd at Stonehenge goes silent. And Veronica says out loud and basically to the entire area, "The lead singer." And with that, as you rocket away, we cut back a few moments ago to the lower parking lot. And at this point, everybody, if you would like to queue up Love Bites by my brother's favorite band, Def Leppard. He loves them. He will be getting a t-shirt again this Christmas. Mitch.
I hope he's watching the show.
Yes. My phone's off, so he won't be able to get to me for a bit. But the wind blows as you are currently. What are you doing? You're working at Veronica's car, but I think this might have been part of the after show. I can't remember if you explained what you were doing in the.
Yeah. So Mitch is frustrated, right? All plans have failed. Really, it's just Mitch's plan has failed, but therefore all plans have failed, and now his friends and allies are left to run amok. And he is out here at the car with nothing to do except for listen to the sweet, sweet tunes of his friend Gary, who's definitely not a bad guy at all. And so while jamming out, he has uncorked that dry erase marker and is using what he has around him, which is a white VW Rabbit. And he is drawing on the hood of the car. mapping out the same kinds of things he was mapping out on the interior wall of Teletran 2, trying to put the puzzle pieces together.
Okay, and as we are looking at the grand narrative, let's just remember that Shannon will be rocketing north in a few minutes. We've flashed back a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And as you are sitting there writing on the hood of this car, trying to put your thoughts together, just as you're kind of like set the dry erase marker down for a second and are looking and trying to, even just kind of conceptualize what you're putting down, a wind blows and your dry erase marker moves from the groove that you put it in, and it rolls down the hood and off to the gravel.
I go pick it up.
As soon as you drop down to pick it up, Dutch and Barney walk around the end of the Volkswagen Rabbit. You know this because just as you were going down through the glass of the windshield, you saw these two boys that have been vacant from Garrett for quite some time and were just recently revealed to you as Shannon having seen them in the town recently. Roll me and investigate.
Okay. Greg? Okay. I think 0 successes. I have a condition. Shit. Man, I can't take another one of those. I'm gonna use luck. I'm gonna use my luck point. I'm gonna investigate again. Come on, big money. Nope, 0. I am bad. I am in utter shock that they are real.
So as they come around the corner of the car, you're still hidden from them. And as you kind of strain your senses, both to take them in visually and to perhaps hear what they're saying, you only catch a portion of their conversation, and you hear the following. Let me turn down Def Leppard, even though my brother will get mad at me for doing it. You hear Dutch say to Barney, "Forget about Chris. He's gone, man. He turned, but he went crazy way before he threw his hat in with the 4 wheels. Kept muttering about keystones and footballs. He's toast, man. The boss will take care of him. Forget him. Focus on Shannon. We need her for," and then you can't hear anymore.
I think did Mitch pick up the pen, the Sharpie?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, it's right at your feet.
He is like, I imagine he's like looking through like the side window, like the window, right through the other window as they watch, and he is just writing as fast as he possibly can on the side door of the Rabbit as he's trying to write down as much information as he just heard from Dutch and Nee. And as soon as they're out of sight, he's going, is the top up?
No, she left the top down.
Okay. He's going to stand on the hood with like 1 foot on like the roof part where like it meets the glass to try to get like that extra inch, and then do what is clearly binoculars to try to find Shannon in the dark, and just look, because he knows she went around back as much as possible. He's gonna try to find her.
Sure. Roll me another investigate.
Of course, yeah. Why not? This is going great so far. 1 success.
Okay, as you turn and look, and as you're using your binoculars to see if you can locate Shannon, you do. You see Shannon as she's beginning to move along kind of like an upper rise to the north, and you see her cross over a fence towards what look like 3 motorcycles. You don't see anybody around, but as you are kind of looking in the distance, your middle distance activates, and you see Dutch and Nee moving and weaving through the cars towards that position as well. You even see Nee point at one moment towards Shannon, and then they both kind of fall into a steady cadence that takes them to the top of this rise. You did roll 1 success, so I'm going to allow you to roll a sneak with a +1, and this is a +1 for the wind is with you.
1 success.
Just as you kind of get up and perch up and are looking out towards the north where Shannon is, you see Dutch, his back straightens. You see him turn and see him sniff And he spins back around in your direction. And I'm going to give you, because you rolled both the investigate and the sneak, a chance to duck if you would like.
I think he just crumples into the car, right? Because he's
Okay.
got like one foot on it, and he just dives into between the seats.
Right. So as the little Volkswagen Rabbit comes to a bit of a rock, Dutch just stops for a second, does that like Thanos type of just bear sniff of the new planet, and turns and continues to walk up towards where you saw Shannon. I will ask you this at this moment. What is your intention, Mitch? Are you
I
where are you
think
going and what are you doing?
right now Mitch is frantically looking in his own pockets, under the seats, in the cup holders for anything metal to somehow attach his Michitaki to the antenna on the rabbit to give it extra gain to get to the other people who he's pretty sure has a Michitaki, and just start shouting out to everyone what he just saw, that there's some kind of emergency. So he's looking for some sort of conductive material to wrap between the antennas.
Okay, so I'm going to give you this because we explained this is part of feature of Veronica's car in season 1, that she could plug her Walkman into her car. So she has that auxiliary jack that comes out. That cable is currently coming out. If you roll me a tinker, I'll let you tinker.
Oh, hell
Wheeljack.
yeah. Let's see. Fucking, are you serious right now? That's like
I'll let
10
you push
dice. Yeah, I'll push it. I'll take a condition and push. 2 successes.
Okay, so with 2 successes, you can also, if there's anything to do with the Michitaki for the rest of this episode, you automatically succeed with that second success that you rolled.
Okay.
With the first one, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think he doesn't know Veronica well, just that she's kind of a bitch, and doesn't really care about her. So I think he just like, I imagine the aux jack is the cassette tape one that has the cable.
Right,
He rips the cable out and starts stripping the copper, and then he's attaching the copper to the Michitaki, and then attaching the copper to the car antenna, and then he's just jamming on that button to get anyone's attention.
And just as you begin to jam on the button, as we mentioned in last episode, when you kind of turn the power on your Michitaki, it activates. You see like the LED that you put in there kind of glow, indicating that the battery's okay, but you don't get any type of signal. And as you're kind of working and manipulating this copper that you've taken off, meanwhile, in Stonehenge proper, the pin drop happens. And as the drummer lifts her hand and the crowd goes silent, Veronica yells out the lead singer. And just as that happens, your Michitaki roars to life. But instead of sending, it receives. And you hear your father's voice. Get to Shannon, son. They're going to take her. And then it's gone. We cut into Stonehenge proper. And at this moment, we're going to go with Jerry and Veronica. Jerry and Veronica are standing in the literal middle of Stonehenge as everybody is kind of milling about and getting ready for this powerful performance. And when last we left Jerry and Veronica, there was the pin drop, and the pin drop being when the drummer lifts her sticks and the entire crowd goes silent. But in that moment of utter silence, Veronica yells out the lead singer, indicating that she believes the person to be the lead singer is a Decepticon. And Jerry, as you looked, you saw Gary Myers, who is the assistant of Miss Maggie at the Paperback Exchange. We are picking up at that very moment. And at that second, Gary's eyes turn towards the two of you. Members of the crowd kind of turn around because this was a special moment. This was the pin drop. And she yelled out. Veronica looks terrified as she can see a creature looking at her. You can see Gary looking at the two of you. What do you do, Jerry? As the drummer begins to twirl her stick, getting ready to start the first song, but there is still silence.
I think Jerry is
You're muted, bud.
but I shouldn't be.
I can hear him just fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
I think Jerry is the he's not the cleverest guy, but he can feel.
Maybe I'm muted. Hold on one sec.
Oh, Greg went deaf.
No.
Guys, I have to steal a car.
Again?
Shh. This time it's actually stealing. The other time I just borrowed it.
Last time he was just given the cars.
Someone
By
dropped
Shannon,
the keys.
by the way, both times.
Yeah.
We're gonna cut to Rob, and he's gonna be in line for a funnel cake.
He's gonna pay
Sorry.
for it like a chump.
Sorry about that. It seems my headphones like to cut out at this moment in every Atari Twilight episode. So I'm sorry. Go right ahead, Jerry. What do you do amidst the silence?
I think Jerry's not the cleverest guy, but he can feel like everyone's attention coming towards them, and he's just gonna like grab. He's holding Veronica's hand. I think he's just gonna like squeeze her hand and try to like draw her into the crowd, away from the eyes of Gary. Are you serious?
She seems terrified. You pull her and move her. She doesn't fight against you, but her eyes are locked on. From what she's explained to you before, she's lived in fear since that moment with the Predator back in June of 1987. And now it seems as if all of the hiding is over. She has been revealed. And she just grips your hand as you hold it. They see me. They see me.
Don't worry, we'll get out of here. But that's Gary from the paperback exchange.
She remains and has her eyes locked as she's staring at Gary, or what she sees in the space of Gary, while behind the drummer is spinning her stick and she gets ready to drop it down. Roll me and investigate Jerry.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Oh, that's 2 successes.
Not only do you see the mountain of a security guard coming over toward you, you are able to stop before he gets within grabbing distance of you. He is, however, within grabbing distance of Veronica, and you see this large kind of meaty hand drop on her shoulder. And because she's locked eyes with Gary, she doesn't even register it really. He looks at you, and you know this person to be the former left tackle of the Braddock High School football team. He is 6'3", 325 pounds, shaved head, with a tattoo of a string of numbers curling around his left ear. This is Reggie Fillmore. And he leans forward, his hand still on Veronica's shoulder, and he kind of squares with you, Jerry, and he says, "What, you didn't think they'd have humans helping them too?" Jerry, what do you do?
Jerry gets him.
Roll force.
There were 3 successes.
Okay, so you describe this. How do you hit? How do you come in? How do you get him?
I think the sheer size of this guy and the reputation of this guy preceding him, Jerry will kind of look cowed. He's standing there with Veronica, but he's kind of makes like he's gonna turn away, and then quickly turns and punches him right in the nose, just square in the nose.
Okay. And this is a hell of a shot. It is a straight arm thrust towards the nose, but we had a corruption bar.
Oh, yeah, we did.
And much like the classic movie with Patrick Swayze, there is a catch as a hand lifts in front of his face, and the other meaty hand of Reggie grabs your perfect punch and stops it cold. And you see him lower it, and as he looks, he smiles, the front left tooth missing from where it was knocked out of his head in the homecoming game last year. But let's cut over to George. George, once again, we're going to roll back time a little bit. We're going to drop back a few minutes. Much like we did whenever we went to see Mitch, we're going to do now that we go to see George. George was able to sneak in as a member of a roadie, a member of the crew here that was working for the Stonehenge. And just as you enter into this area, you hear behind you from the shadows, "Oh, good to see you, man."
I don't turn around, but I do look over my shoulder to see if they're talking to me or not.
They are, and you see Reggie Fillmore. He steps from the shadows and walks up and stands beside you. "How you doing, man?"
Another day, another dollar. You?
So I'm glad to see you, man. I thought I was the only one here. I don't like flying solo with things heating up.
No, man. I'm not about that.
So
Where are you staking out?
they told me there'd be some type of problem. I was supposed to be here to make sure that Gary was all right. They said they saw the seer talking to the other group.
The other group? Yeah.
Yeah,
They're here?
they should be. You don't know where they are?
I just got here myself, man. I'm staking out right now.
I thought they put you in with the other group.
They snuck in. I don't know. I had to find my own way in. You know how we have to do things.
Roll me a charm.
Okay. Oof. Ooh, 0 successes.
You can, of course, push, or if you've got luck.
No. I'm going to stick with my failure.
Okay. Reggie kind of turns and looks. "Listen, you're supposed to stick with them. That's your job, man. You can't freelance. You got to report back and let us know what's happening with them. It's when shit like this happens."
It's going to be fine. Everything's going to work out.
"All right, man, but I'm going to have to bring it up. You know, I'm not putting my ass out on the line for you."
I wasn't asking you to.
And at that moment, you see as the crowd kind of mills about, you see Jerry and Veronica moving towards the center of the audience. But there's still music and there's still kind of the humdrum of a pre-show going on. And Reggie's still just standing there. "There she is. You see her?"
Yeah. Her and he points at Veronica the blonde.
"Yeah, it's her. They were right. And big son of a bitch is with her."
He's dumb. Don't worry about it.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
All right, man. What do you, what? Oh,
Huh?
what?
What's that? Come again?
What, are you going to offer something? What?
No, it's stumbling.
He turns towards you, and despite his, talking down to you, is dressing you down, he does like kind of put out a fist to his side for you to like knock or punch or tap, a gesture of some form of solidarity.
I graze it. I just go like I don't look. I just kind of.
Okay.
I don't know if I hit it or not.
Yeah, well, it's close enough for him. He just turns around and says, "All right, hey, just take it easy, man. They're locking people up left and right." So, and he starts to move into the crowd. And as he kind of blends in, this large guy in the shadows with his black shirt with security, his bald head with the numbers around his left ear, they hear the lack of sound as the drummer raises up her hand and the pin drop happens. And just as he starts into the crowd, you hear Veronica yell out clear as day, the lead singer. George, what do you do in this moment you have to react?
I want to follow Reggie.
Okay.
I want to sneak behind him. Because if he's going to go for her, like George, he's not the brightest, but he's bright enough to realize that, she's in danger, obviously, and so is Jerry. So he's going to sneak up behind Reggie, and when shit goes down, he's going to be there if he can.
Absolutely. So roll me a sneak and roll me with a +2, and your +2 is for same team.
Sweet. So I'm just going to add a 2 to my sneak. 3 successes.
Reggie has no idea that you're there, and if you need to sneak around Reggie in the future, you may do so without rolling this session.
Awesome.
But from there, we cut over to Rob. Everybody, we have gone far too long without any music here. So what I would like you to do at this moment is start a little Depeche Mode, Strange Love. Just let that cue up in the background. Let it drop a little bit. And let it drop a little bit. Too loud for me. Rob, as you are in the crowd, you were able to just purchase a ticket and walk straight in. So you are among the masses. What would Rob have done in the 2 to 3 minutes he had before leaving the gate and reaching the crowd?
Grab a hot dog and a Coke.
Okay.
Or something to that effect. Maybe if there's if there's booths, people selling jewelry, handmade crafts, he would have browsed and just kind of take. I mean, he's all by himself. He doesn't. I mean, he figures, right. When things pop off, he's gonna know.
Roll me an empathize. If we get a success here, you will have found somebody that's selling crafts as well.
No.
Nah, wrong crowd. This is the denim and leather, bandanas, and beer. In fact, as you walk in, as soon as you get in, the only liquid to purchase here is beer. So I would ask this question, and by no means is this peer pressure. I am simply saying, would Rob have grabbed a beer and a hot dog to blend in?
He would have asked for a water instead of a beer, because he figures, hey, they gotta have water for people, right? You can't just go without water. If they do not have water, then he will grab a beer.
They give you water, but what it is it's the melted ice from the bottom of one of the coolers. So you get that scoop of ice cold ice water. So they hand it over to you, no charge, and a hot dog. Where would you go as soon as you get into the main area? Imagine just a large festival with a stage on one end, one level seating across, and just amps and lights kind of ringing it around that fake Stonehenge area.
Is the band kind of on stage right now?
They're milling about, getting ready to go on.
He's gonna look up at the stage and go, "Oh, Gary," and then kind of walk his way to the stage, kind of on the outskirts of the crowd, maybe trying to, see if he can find a position where he's not behind taller people. And he's gonna eat his hot dog and just kind of look around for his friends.
Okay. As you were doing this, all of a sudden, the world seems to slow down for you. And by that, I mean the humdrum, the sounds are the first thing that kind of start to drag. They get deeper. The sounds of just the general cacophony of talking gets lower and lower and lower as the notes that are in the speech of the crowd begin to drag and dip until everything freezes. And you're standing there with just your cup of ice water and your hot dog, and you hear reverberate in your head, "Look to the stars."
And Rob's gonna look up at the stars because it's cryptic, and he's taking it literal.
As you look up, catching the bent of this cryptic statement, you see the stars and the constellations that are being revealed here in the clear Garrett County night sky. It begins to rearrange Each one of the dots of light, they form what looks like a failing dot matrix printer or a constellations worshipped in civilizations ancient. The stars move and shift, creating darkness and brighter light until it reforms into the face of Optimus Prime.
Oh, we're having a Mufasa moment. Yeah, Rob's gonna look around. Like he can't hear anybody, but are people moving, or is people like frozen in time?
Yeah, this is like this is, if we're looking at this cinematically, it's as if everybody but Rob is in darkness. You're in a spotlight. You can't hear anybody that's not in the spotlight. They don't react to you. There's no sound coming, no music, no crowd noise. There's kind of a real low, almost like if crickets were much deeper, that just general white noise that's associated with the spot. It's barely audible, but you have that kind of ooh that's waving out. But
Okay.
you are with Prime. Do you do anything as this face takes shape?
He's gonna like drop his hot dog in water because his hands are kind of shaking. I see you.
The plate that you can clearly see now, made up with the kind of the lines of stars, it says, "Well met, Robimus Prime. I fear our reunion is not to be a happy one. The enemy is moving all around us, and they have reinforcements. They have conscripted their own human allies and supplied them with powers most foul. It is time we even the odds. Embrace your friends, Rob, like Maggie taught you." Roll me a force roll.
Oh, you guys are so getting hugged. One success.
With one success, when the bolt of energy strikes from the heavens and pierces into your chest, Rob, you are driven down to one knee. You can't keep the scream from coming from your throat. If you're still holding the water, it is crushed in your hand. If you're still holding the hot dog, it is squeezed into a paste in your other. As you drop to your knees, even the grass around you blackens and smokes as power lances through you. This ribbon of blue that dances and rips through your teeth and across your hair and down your chest. And as it kind of coalesces and helixes around you, it goes back up into the stars, and you see that Optimus, the image that you're looking at, looks weaker. "We have traveled far, Robimus, and we are almost there. Hold the line, soldier. Hold the line. Hold the line. Hold the line. Hold the line." And you see the stars shift and begin to sputter like a VCR that is poorly tracked. You see the lines go through it, and another face starts to form. How well do you know your Transformers, Rob?
Rob or Kendall?
Both, but I mean, you can tell me Rob and tell me Ken.
Rob probably knows them a lot better than Kendall does.
Okay. Well, this one's a pretty easy one. As the lines begin to reform, Optimus's visage is sundered and it is replaced with that of Megatron.
Oh, well, yeah, come on, everybody.
Right. And this face comes from the sky down towards you as you're still on one knee looking up, until this outline, this glowing dot creation is almost nose to nose with you, but the face itself is the size of your entire body. And as it looks, almost eyes glowing, and the heat that are coming off, you can feel, it's palpable. You can feel the energy from this configuration. Megatron speaks. Foolish Autobot heroics. Why throw away your life so recklessly? And the eye on the left opens a little wider, as if waiting for an answer.
It's not just my life. This is for everyone.
The face almost looks back up towards the heavens as if in a moment of wanting to roll robotic eyes. Forgo this little crusade, and I will spare you and your friends.
Rob's gonna lean in. Try me.
Roll me a lead.
One success.
Megatron looks back, and that look of an eye roll is gone as those metallic eyes narrow. And gone is the negotiator. He leans forward again until he is just within your nose. I'll crush you with my bare hands. And then he begins to dissipate, but he's still there right in front of you, staring at you.
I crush tab cans harder than you.
Having no idea what a tab can is, this is the gauntlet thrown as Megatron. You can see that the mouth is moving, but you can't hear the rage as it's just as it's disappearing and the stars are returning to normal. My friend, I would like you to take a permanent item, and this is his number. Anytime you deal with Megatron, you get a plus 2d6.
Pulling his card. Plus 2d6.
Yep. Anytime you deal with Megatron. And as he pulls back, and as we return to the pin drop moment, the spotlight on Rob dissipates, but the blackened grass remains. No one seems to notice. The drummer is twirling her stick in the air, and as she drops it to strike just off, maybe 20 yards to the right, Jerry takes his shot at Reggie. Just to the north, a race is being driven by Shannon. Back in the parking lot, Mitch is receiving word from his father, and George is sneaking through the crowd behind Reggie. But everybody, we are caught up in time, as I would like you all to play some Runaway by Bon Jovi, because that is the song that starts. As the drums hit the ground, and Jerry, you took your shot and had it caught, everything catches up. And so I would like to know, Rob, George, what do you do at this moment as you see Jerry standing there and Reggie has the hand clasped in front of him and kind of pulling it down and looking at Jerry? George, you would be closer, but Rob, you have the better view. What you guys do?
So we see the scuffle, right?
You do.
That's established. I'm going to start heading that way.
Okay.
You know, like I said, I've already dropped the hot dog in the water, but Rob's not going to run. He's going to briskly walk like a man on a mission.
Okay, so are you like walking quickly? Are you charging? Are you making like best possible time to get to this area?
It's gonna be slow walk. And I'm thinking like, and then if I see this dude like catch Jerry's hands and stuff, it's gonna turn into like a trot. Rob right now feels like he's 10 foot tall and 4 foot wide.
Gotcha. So as you're charging there, George, you have the moment where you actually see Reggie from behind as this fist comes in. What do you do?
How tall is Reggie again? He's like 6 foot.
6'3", 325 pounds.
Oh, he's a big boy. His knees are going to be weak because I'm tall and my knees are my weak spot. So all right, you're short, Kendall, so I don't think you can do the, okay. I'm 6 foot even. Thank you very much. And I'm not lying. Anyway, I want to get the back of his knees. I want to, jam the back of his knees. If you have ever seen that, I mean, kids do that all the time, right? So I don't know if I got to jump kick his knees or tackle his knees, but I want to take out his frame, his lower part of his frame.
Sure, roll me a force.
All right.
And again, you get a +1, same team here.
All right, cool. 1 success.
Okay, so what we're going to say here is as you come in, you kind of throw a shoulder, go low, almost kind of like a chop block. You go in and try to take the knee out from the side. And perhaps it's the offensive line training that Reggie has had for as long as he's had it. He's able to kind of take that shot, that unexpected shot, and move away a bit, but he pulls back and releases Jerry's hand. However, he drags Veronica with him as he kind of stumbles back like 3 or 4 feet. Jerry, I'm going to give you a chance to do something. He doesn't seem to realize what George has done. There's still a crowd of people around here. A few are beginning to look, but strangely enough, not many.
Jerry promised Veronica everything was going to be okay. And he's not living up to that. Like, his friends are coming to help. But I think Jerry would like to try to break this guy's grip on Veronica to get her away. And if you'll allow me, I would like to spend my pride this season because I beat Devastator.
Okay.
And that's my pride.
Sure thing. Absolutely. So that gives you an automatic success. I will ask you, though, why don't you roll me a force as well?
I can,
because the corruption bar has jacked Reggie up a little bit.
That's 3 more successes.
Tell me how you split the two apart.
I think, he momentarily let go of Veronica's hand, and he'll take it again. And as Reggie loses his balance a little bit, Jerry will just come down with his forearm and smack his grip, and then just pull Veronica away and dart into the crowd.
Okay, so yeah, you're able to pull Veronica back, but Veronica seems to be not petrified, but she's staring directly at Gary up on the stage. She's just locked eyes, and you can see Gary locking eyes with her as he's playing Runaway, and you do get her away. And for a moment, she kind of breaks this fugue state that she's in, and she looks over and realizes what you've done. And it's much like that look that she gave you in the scrapyard all those months ago when she realized that Jerry and Mitch had kind of saved her from that situation she was in at that point. Definitely not a damsel in distress type of moment, but just more of a reinforcement type of thing. And she looks at you, perhaps with an additional layer of understanding of what Jerry Baker or who Jerry Baker truly is. And we're going to say that as all this gets pulled back, I am going to need Rob, George, and Jerry to roll me let me see. I need, what did I have down here? This is a force, physical stress.
1 more. I got 1.
What's success for myself?
Oh,
Jerry.
Jerry flexing on
one
him.
thing.
So there is a flash that comes from all of the lights. There is a wave of sound that comes out of all of the speakers, and the rest of the crowd stands mesmerized looking at the stage. Rob, George, you get knocked over, not to the point of being prone or being dazed, but just off your feet. And for a moment, the only people that are standing as this huge bright light kind of smashes through it's Reggie and Jerry. Just the two of them are still standing in the middle of this glow. And as the glow begins to lift, you see that Reggie is running and he has Veronica over his shoulder. Let's cut to Mitch. Mitch, you have just received this message from your father. It seems that the show is starting in Stonehenge proper. You see Shannon disappearing to the north. What do you do?
Greg, I am gonna hotwire the rabbit. I have no choice, Greg. I have to hotwire the rabbit.
Sometimes you have to hotwire a Volkswagen.
Yeah, so I have two conditions, both angry and scared. I am going to... Shit. I am going to use my...
Pride?
I'm debating between my pride or my iconic item. I think I can't fuck up hotwiring the car.
Your iconic item would take out two of the conditions.
It's true. It's true.
Be a push.
You know what? I'm gonna use my iconic item, which is my adjustable wrench. Sorry, Veronica. Sorry, the rabbit. But you know, old school '80s movies. I take out the wrench and I'm gonna knock off the ignition switch, and that way I can kind of get in there. And I'm gonna go for it, man. Is this a Tinker? I assume.
Tinker. Yep.
One success. I'll take it. I don't even care at this point.
It's not pretty at all.
Yeah.
It is. You crack the steering column. The plastic comes off of it. You're able to kind of get the wrench around and literally force the ignition tumbler to spin, and that causes the strike as the Volkswagen Rabbit sputters to life.
Yeah. And
The
this
powerful
thing is
Volkswagen
getting
motor.
Yeah, this thing is getting driven like it's never been driven before. He like has the wrench is in where the ignition hole was, just cranked, and he floors it like he's driving off road. He's following wherever he can to keep Shannon in view. Over the grass, over medians. He's just going with this rabbit.
Okay, so I will let you know this. There is a road that is an actual road that runs beside where Shannon is going. So it would be parallel to what she's doing. I will allow you to go off-road if you'd like to go off-road with the rabbit, or you can go on the regular road. It would just be like 50 yards to the left of Shannon and the crew.
Listen, Mitch makes plans. He doesn't make good plans. So he's keeping her in line of sight. And he's going off-road with this rabbit. He's you know, we've driven a lot of vehicles off-road that shouldn't have. What's one more? And so he's, and like, I imagine at the edge of the parking lot, there's gonna be like that little like lip, and boom, he like launches the rabbit over into the grass, and it's just like squealing on wet grass, to try to keep up with these motorcycles.
Okay, so, roll me a move roll, because
Sure.
this is you, as we did move with the bike with Shannon, this will be move with you as you try to negotiate the rabbit
Okay.
in its natural habitat, which is of course off-road.
Which is of course off-road. That's where rabbits belong.
Right.
0 successes, Greg.
Okay, so here's how this happens. As you go off-road,
Yeah.
you kind of, as soon as you drive over that last like parking pylon, and you hear something leave the rabbit.
That's
You're
fine.
not sure what that is, but it was there and then it's gone. The rabbit sounds meatier and tougher now. Your guess is muffler.
Yeah, I'll take care of that later. I can fix anything. It's fine.
So as you kind of spin through the parking lot and go over this parking strip and hit down into the grass, you're heading towards the fence that Shannon jumped over to get to her field. But as you cross from the parking lot over into the grass, there is a group of middle schoolers that are there that have tried to get in to see the show and of course been rebuked because they're even a year younger than you are. And it seems that a few of them are cheerleaders. And as you drive by, one of them goes, "Hey, watch where you go!" As you drive by, and it kind of crashes and you spin up around the area. And one of the other girls goes, "Peggy, calm down. You're going to be fine." "I know, but it almost killed me." And then as you drove up. And so, as you hit the field, I need you to make another move roll as you hit the fence.
2 successes. That fence is fucking obliterated, Greg.
So much like the Smokey and the Bandit, you crash through, and as the pylons and the split rail go flying up over the top, you see that spider web on the passenger side as one of the larger slats kind of hits the windshield and splinters it, and you're still driving behind. You pop up and you're now in the field heading up towards that crest that dips down and then starts into the field. Shannon has disappeared. The two other bike riders have just dipped over. I need you to make another move roll as the rabbit seems to be. Well, let's have another move roll.
Can I use my pride?
Can you use your pride? You can get a success, sure.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, I'm using my pride to get a success. I can't lose this.
Okay. So you're able to pop up, and what we'll say is the pride to save the Volkswagen from going completely kaput. The pride gets you up towards the edge that's flatter, kind of near that road area. So you're less off-road than the bikes would be, but you're able to kind of stay on the same trajectory as you're kind of in between the state county road, you and then the bikes as they're traveling down, and you kind of hit the top of the hill and begin to go down. And as a mechanical person, you realize that you're pretty sure gravity is having more to do with the Volkswagen going down this hill than the actual combustion engine that is part of this creature.
Science is science, Greg.
Science is science. Okay, so as this happens, I would like to fast forward a couple hundred yards to Shannon. Shannon, as you're riding, I need you to make another move roll, as at this point, Dutch has just told you, beat me, and I'll tell you everything.
Okay. 2 successes.
You pull ahead of Dutch, and you can tell that you've been around Dutch long enough to know that he never lets anyone win. And so this is 100% Shannon, as you're able to kind of like dip inside a kind of a wash that's running through and take a little bit of the extra terrain to grab and jump ahead of him. As soon as you get ahead, he looks up and you hear him yell to you, "Ask me a question."
Oh, fuck. Okay. I see what's going on here. All right.
Everybody play Little Cry Little Sister too while we're just sitting right here.
Okay. First question will be, what happened to you?
As he looks back over, he says, "We found some new friends." And you can hear Barney kind of struggling to keep up. He's starting to fall back. He was never a bike rider. You're still ahead of him. You see him, though, lean down as he twists the accelerator.
Okay. I mean, she's going to keep trying to be ahead of him to keep asking questions.
You get another one before he makes his move.
What are your friends' names?
He smiles for just a second, even though you're probably focusing, but you can feel the smile. You can kind of feel it against the back of your neck and head. George's dad's a really nice guy.
Okay. All right.
Roll me a move roll as you hear his bike rev.
Yep. 2 successes.
So he spins and he pulls up a little bit, but you can feel his front wheel where your back wheel is, and he's close now. He's maybe just 2 or 3 feet between the two bikes as they are screaming down this field. He smiles again. Ask away.
What happened to Chris?
He broke.
Why?
He joined the other side, like you.
we get another question, or are we rolling?
Roll. Yeah.
Three
Oh,
successes.
I love it. It was 1, 2, 3, by the way, for successes. So he
pissed off.
Yeah, he revs again, and you actually see his front wheel lift off a bit as he's trying to use every bit of the torque of that back wheel to get ahead of you. But somehow you're using the environment to get more kind of surface area on your wheels. You're getting further and further ahead of him. Now you are not just front wheel to back wheel. You have pulled away almost a half of a bike length as you're moving. This field is unknown to you, and you are starting to rush down this hill. It almost has a canyon aspect to it. You know that off to the left is the county road, but this is a field that Shannon would never really have had any reason to walk, but you are rocketing down in the darkness towards points unknown. But you get more questions.
Before I ask another question, can I actually use one of those successes to see if there's... All right. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. So the immediate thought is, if they're with the Decepticons, right, at this point, based on what he's answered, and the bike said ride north, now it feels like a trap. So for Shannon, if she's looking ahead and she isn't familiar with it, what is, you know, is there like a path like exclusively to one direction, or is this still available, like multiple options, I guess?
You can go off to the left. You could jump. There's a split rail fence, just like the one that you jumped to get into the field, that leads over into the county road. To your right, it's more heavily forested. But this is a wider area. It's not like you're narrowing into like a 20-foot space or anything. It's still, you know, a good 30, 40 yards wide. But it has a canyon feel to it. And with that additional success, what I'll let you do is, if you want to spend one of these successes, I will give you this ability. You don't have to roll to beat Dutch anymore. You've got him.
Okay.
He'll pull closer to you, and you can still ask a question, but you have control of this race. That would also give you the ability to move out of this canyon if you'd want to, but it'll take you from 3 successes to 2.
That's fine. Yeah, I'll take
Okay.
that. Okay, so I get 2 questions. Okay, so at this point, I'm processing right now. What's your mission?
You're still our friend, aren't you? And you actually hear sincerity in the voice.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, I'm your friend, but so was Chris.
He was never as tough as you.
So what do you want with me?
To be friends again. And you rocket down towards the field. Are you staying in the middle of the field, or are you creeping to the left?
I'm staying in the middle.
Okay.
Yep.
Before we cut back to our group at Stonehenge, I will say this. Mike, you're able to negotiate using your pride. You are able to keep the rabbit driving forward, but the rabbit has taken some pretty hefty damage. You're beginning to creep up and dip down as you feel that gravity, like I said before, was pulling but you feel a drag now, as if something in the car wants to leave the car. And so there is a light, a smell, and the sound of sparks pouring out of the back and the underneath of the Volkswagen Rabbit. Your thoughts?
Oh man, I can't get under there from here, Greg. Do I see the bikes?
You can, yeah. No need for an investigate. You can see them kind of zipping down.
I think he, like, with one hand on, he just leans onto the horn, and the other hand is furiously holding the button down on the Michitaki as he's like blaring this rabbit towards Shannon, and he's just yelling over 911, 911, 911 as he's holding on to the CB radio walkie-talkie.
Well, you know what? All this is occurring, and you're able to get all of this out. Roll me and investigate, please.
Oh God. Investigate. 0 successes.
So as you are yelling, 911, and you're screaming, and you are taken completely by surprise when there is a figure kind of on the windshield or the driver's side window looking at you. Her long hair is blowing behind her, and you realize it's the skateboarder from before. She is riding on the outside of this failing car, and she looks at you and says, "Is this thing going to explode? Should I get off?" Or
how fast was it going when she got on it?
You don't know where she hooked on.
I'm so concerned. She's on the hood of the car? Is that what you're saying?
No. She's riding off to the side.
Oh,
she's
like
riding
grabbed
along
on
the county road. Yeah,
she grabbed on.
She's Marty McFlying it. Yeah.
I think, like, he looks over at her and says, "Get in or get off," as he's like, "Brr," and just screaming 911 into the thing. Whatever she chooses to do is on her.
You see her coast away from you as she's kind of, "Are you going to blow up?" And she's still riding on the county road about 5 feet from you.
I might. 911.
It smells like you're going to blow up.
I know.
Should you not blow up?
Not really. Get clear.
She coasts away like another 2 or 3 feet.
How close does this look like it's going to blow up, Greg? There's a lot of bad sounds.
You got smoke rolling out of the hood. That first failure was not good.
Oh man, I think, did we clear all of the chain link fence? That's no longer hanging on?
Well, I mean, you think.
Okay, that's fair. Oh man, the club was a thing, and the rabbit was a nice car. I assume that Veronica has some kind of club, right? I think.
You mean like an anti-theft
Yeah,
device?
yeah, the club.
Sure.
Yeah,
we'll give her a club. Okay.
I think he takes this and like jams it in the gas pedal as best he can. Like he locks the club, steering wheel, gas pedal, and just jams it down. And he grabs the Michitaki if he can, and he's about to bail out of this thing. Because it does in fact look like it's about to explode. And the fate of the world is in Mitch's hands right now. That's what's going through his head. So yeah, I think he's dumb and a 14-year-old boy. He grabs the thing, and then I'm gonna roll so bad when you make me roll for this. And then he gets up and starts to run over the back of the car because that's the most logical thing.
You're trying to get speed?
Yeah, he's trying to. So he's gonna. So because if you roll out of the side, you could get caught up underneath it. But he's gonna try to get over the back seat where he was sitting on it before and launch himself off the back of the car so he can tuck and roll. Because boys are dumb. So, Greg, how do I break my fucking collarbone?
Mike, roll a new character.
Great,
right. No, if you would, roll me a move.
Sure.
As you run and jump off the back, right where you were sitting like you were in a parade.
Yeah.
That's where you leap from.
Fucking 1 success.
With 2 conditions is fantastic. Okay, so we're gonna leave this in a Michael Bay moment as you have your Michitaki and you jump and you're silhouetted as this sundered and dying rabbit is going down into points unknown, and you are being witnessed by this skateboarder who is quizzical and impressed, really, as you jump off of this car.
Someone draw this, please.
And as you jump off, let's cut back to Stonehenge. Everybody, if you could queue up a little, let's do a little Injustice for All, please, by Metallica, because That seems like the mood right now. Rob, George, Jerry, you see that something has been done to both yourselves and the crowd. Jerry, you're able to shake it off really quickly. Reggie is now running with Veronica. Veronica seems to not be moving. She seems to have been as affected by what's happened to the rest of the crowd as you weren't. George and Rob are kind of shaking heads, but you guys can clear your heads pretty quick. Jerry, you just took it. You took the shot, and as soon as your eyesight came back after the blast, what do you want to do? Jerry, Rob, George, you see Reggie running with her.
I think Jerry will turn to the other two and yell, "It's Gary! It's Gary!" and then give chase.
Roll me a move as soon as you run.
Not Gary.
Gary.
That's 2 successes.
George, Rob.
So I'll let Rob go.
No.
I insist.
No. You're the taller one.
Okay. I'm sorry. What was that? I can't hear you. I'm so high.
You're
clouds
the
right now.
taller one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. When you look up, I can actually hear that better. So maybe I was not listening correctly. I thought Reggie was fireman carrying her out of here, like over his shoulder.
He is. Yeah,
he is?
he's leaving. Yeah, and Jerry is in pursuit. You were all kind of flash blinded by what Gary did with the lights and everything up on stage, and the rest of the crowd seems frozen.
Okay.
So,
I don't really care about Gary. We know who he is. We know whatever. He's going away. Worst case scenario. So I'm giving chase after Jerry. The guy caught Jerry's fist, so Jerry's gonna need some help.
Gotcha. Roll me a move. Okay.
0 successes.
You're moving in that direction. Jerry just kind of sprints and leaps in that direction. Rob, what would you like to do, my friend?
I am also going to be chasing. No, I'm going to go after Gary. That's my thing. They're going after. Yeah, because Gary's like a brother, kind of.
Okay.
So I'm gonna. Is Gary running or is he still up on stage?
Roll me an investigate.
Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot I reloaded, so I gotta open my thing because
You all reload.
Heck yeah. Investigate is right.
It only works for meta. Oh, maybe I stand corrected.
Oh, what?
You look up and Gary is not on the stage.
I'm gonna start yelling, Gary, while like sideways, like creeping through people and trying to get closer to the stage to see if I can see him in the back or see if I can see where he went at all.
You get up, you start moving through these kind of frozen statue people. And as soon as you do, when you kind of like are scanning, you look over and you see George and Jerry running off after in the direction of Veronica. And you see off to the side coming down off the stage, Gary seeming to join up and give chase as well towards the direction in which Reggie is taking Veronica.
I hit a pursuit drill. I'm gonna try to cut him off at the pass.
Sure, roll me a move.
Okay. 1 success.
You are on an intercept course, my friend. If they're running a route, you've got the angle before they can get to the end zone. So you're moving towards.
I'm glad you get all the sports talk that I say sometimes.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, you're moving in that direction. Jerry, we're going to go with you. Roll me an investigate as you're in front of everybody, including Gary. Gary's coming down off to your right, running with you, but you're looking straight ahead as with the investigate, you see Reggie moving towards this outlier public works building that we mentioned before, the one that was off to the side of where Mitch was trying to kind of work with the relay. You see him running and he gets there and rips the door open, turns around and yells out the following. as you can see that there's some type of wire coming from his ear, much like an FBI agent. He says, I have the seer. I have Shockwave with me. He's helping, I think. And he runs into the Public Works building. I'm assuming pursuit, Jerry?
Well, yeah, Jerry's not a smart man. He doesn't seem to see the danger of the situation he's going to pursue.
Okay. As soon as you get inside, you're the first there. Gary, George, Rob following. As you get into the building, you see that there is an open tube. If Jerry's ever been to a water park, that is probably the only thing you can compare this to. It's wide. It's maybe 5-6 feet across. And there seems to be a silvery white liquid with a bluish glow to it. And you see Veronica and Reggie disappear down it.
Son of a... Jerry's gonna follow.
Jerry, as soon as you run, how do you go in? Head first, feet first? Pete Rose or?
I think head first.
Okay. So Jerry, as soon as you jump and kind of splash into this, it feels like water, but it has the consistency almost of like a mercury. You see it rolling off of you, like rolling off of your hands in beads as it comes out. And just ahead of you, as this dips and becomes some type of incredible descent in this tube, you hear Reggie's voice creep back. And it says, as if he's continuing this conversation with whoever's on the other end of this wire, they're in the Energon. Let's cut back to George and Rob. You are both heading towards this Public Works building. You saw Jerry go in it, but Gary is going to get there before you. And he is slowing up and turning around back towards the two of you.
Oh, he turned around and started running towards us.
He was running towards Jerry, and then he stopped in front of the Works building and turned around. And when he turns around, roll me an investigate.
Oh, no. 5.
Holy
I am all knowledge.
I see everything. I am everything.
Fucking Robin is prime, coming in clutch.
Rob, you can see Gary for what he is. As he looks and turns, you see what Veronica sees. You see the metal tendons. You see the wires that extend into ligaments. Gary is gone. There is no Gary. There is just these red eyes with the heartbeats going through them, the do-do, that you saw before when you had the mask of Optimus on. Ever since then, you haven't been able to see them. Optimus hasn't spoken to you. Tonight he did, and now you can see again. You are reborn. This is not Gary, at least not the one that you knew.
How far away am I?
You're closing. You're like 30, 25, 20. He's slowed down and turned around as if to keep you. And with a 5 investigate, his body language suggests that he is going to prevent you from pursuing Jerry and Reggie and Veronica. He looks to try to keep you out of the Public Works building. And George, you can act here too. It's you and Rob both kind of rushing together towards Gary. So
yeah, I imagine I'm ahead of him. So I want to, if he gets in the way, I'm going to shoulder check him or clothesline him.
Roll me a force, and Rob, you are literally right behind this. So
hold on, I just want to see how this plays out. I want to see how you clothesline a giant robot.
1 success. We'll see.
You see George's arm go out, and as he clotheslines Gary, you see Gary fly backwards as if hit by a Mack truck, and he smashes against the Public Works building and flips over the roof, disappearing behind the structure.
Damn.
Whoa.
George. Yeah, okay. Cool. Rob's gonna say cool.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, come on. But it's just Tuesday.
I was just gonna hug him, but all right.
Okay, so
yeah, I think
George,
from there.
Yeah.
This is how this works is you both see the same thing. As you rush into the Public Works building, you would see the tube with this strange white bluish glowed water going away. You would probably even see Jerry disappearing, the back of his feet and boots going down in. George, you're there first. Rob a beat later, but George, you can act first here. What do you do?
I'm assuming that, and I apologize if you just said this. I was writing notes. And I'm terrible at multitasking. Did we see Jerry go into the pipe?
Because he went in head first. You don't see him, but you see his boots kind of disappear into the pipe.
Okay, that's ringing a bell now. So we're going in there, and I go feet first. I don't go head first.
Okay.
I try to.
So Rob, you would see George like swing in and go into this pipe just as you kind of open into the door. What do you do?
Did you say Rob or George?
Rob, yeah. Yeah, George goes in feet first, and you see him dive into the tube. You are left out there. You can do whatever you would like. But you assume George is following Jerry because Jerry's not in this building. It's a small building.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just gonna go right behind him while yelling, Jerry!
Feet first or head first?
Head first.
Okay. As you dive in, you're almost face to face with George, who's going in feet first with his head kind of back. So for a second, the two of you are in like talking distance as you launch and go down. And before anything can be said, the incline of this shifts and you all are rocketing down. Whether or not anybody's yelling, I leave that completely up to you, but you are disappearing into the darkness of this water slide. We'll go with water slide. Let's cut back up to Shannon. Everybody, give me a little bit of, let me see. Give me a little bit of a dare from Stan Bush. We're going to jump back and forth here a little bit. You've got him, Shannon. Dutch cannot get in front of you. He seems to realize that he's lost this race, so he's turning towards a different tactic. Let's stop and talk about everything, Shannon. We need you.
She's gonna play along. She slows down.
He seems relieved as he begins to slow down. We cut back up towards the county road as Mitch, you jump out of the rabbit, and the rabbit is now a tumbling German fireball. It's not completely burning, but it's smoking and sparks as it kind of continues the last ride down into the field. You land and hit, and as you don't take any additional damage, but as you look up and kind of shake off the dust, the skateboarder pulls up beside you and she looks down. Are you trying to catch up to them?
Yeah. What the hell else would I be doing?
You're jumping out of cars. It's tough to tell.
It was cool though, right? I gotta go. and he starts running down the hill towards where he saw the bikes go.
She grabs your shoulder as you start to run.
He'll stop. He'll probably get yanked back.
She says, okay, two things.
Yeah.
She says, do you spook easily, and have you slow danced before?
What? No, I fight robots and shit. And what?
Have you slow danced before?
Like with a girl? No.
Okay.
Why?
She pulls you up onto her board, and you see her turn and kick with her, like a goofy foot, with her left foot, as you begin to go down the steep hill that Shannon had descended through in the field. And as she pulls you up, she turns back and grabs your hand out in front of her, and she looks up at you and says, "Let me lead."
I think despite how in his head cool that action shot was, he has no idea where to put his hands. So he is like, it's a tiny board. So he's like bro hugging to try to hold on there. He doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, and this is like a Mike Vallely, like big, like fat tongue board. So
Nice,
there's
okay.
enough on here for both of you.
Yeah.
But as she takes complete control, and everybody stands good here, but I think the new kids on the block, you got it, the right stuff is better right here.
Okay.
So as you are going down the hill, chasing the dirt bike champion that is Shannon Locke, you have just met Charlie, the skateboarder, as she is riding almost with your hands out in front, like a guidepost for a ship. Make a move roll for me, Mike, as you are part of this equation.
Make a move. That's my worst.
Look at
Holy shit! I've been spending too much time with butts. 2 successes.
So as you begin to progress down this incredibly steep hill, you figure that if you were to wreck, this is probably going to be way worse than jumping out of the Sundered Rabbit. And so as you're going down, the two of you are in sync, leaning back and forth, taking this board and weaving it around through the cracks in the asphalt. And she seems impressed with your ability, to the point where she stops correcting you after about 30 or 40 feet down. Shannon.
Mitch
You
has
come
never
to
been
a-
on a skateboard, for the record.
Shannon, you come to a stop between, as this canyon's kind of gotten a little bit closer, you're probably, if we're looking at this from above, you are now like 20 feet below where Mitch and the skateboarder are, and you're about equidistant between like two canyon walls at like 25, 30 yards. And as you stop, Dutch pulls up behind you and turns his motorcycle off and puts his hand up on his arm up on his handlebars. Knee is coming up. He'll be there in about 10, 15 seconds. Roll me an investigate while you look back.
Okay. 2 successes.
You see a flaming Volkswagen Rabbit that you're pretty sure the other two have not noticed because they haven't turned around.
Is it coming towards us?
Yeah, but not real fast. It's like it'll get here in like 10 minutes. I mean, it's
Oh, okay.
if it makes it, it's just it's
Okay,
the last ride of the Volkswagen
Yeah.
Rabbit.
So does she recognize it as Veronica's?
Yeah. It is a signature vehicle, so yes.
Oh, okay. That'd be concerning. I think she's gonna try to make sure. No, because they just said that they're on the other side. Other than the fireball part, I guess. But All right. So I think she's gonna try to keep their attention so they don't notice the vehicle. But eventually, if it does come close enough, then fire is fire. So can't really sneak on that one. Okay. Yeah.
We need your help.
Need my help.
Always did.
Well, it's not like you didn't know where I was this whole time. You guys
look
just
busy.
left. Busy? You disappeared and I spent over a year looking for you.
You seem to have stopped recently.
I never stopped. I just didn't know where else to look. All the normal things that happened that would lead me to believe that you guys were even still alive, nothing was there. I had no leads to follow, not until recently. But then you showed up, conveniently.
I'm sorry.
You're sorry? I thought you guys were dead, and you're sorry is all you can say. Why were you gone? What happened? Like, explain. You said you would tell me everything if I won. Well, I just kicked your ass, so talk.
They needed us at the loop. They needed help,
Who's
but not
they?
kids. We thought they were working for the loop, but they're not.
Do they have names other than friends? What do you call them? Do you just go up and say, "Hey, friend"?
You call them the Decepticons.
You know,
That's
they tried
not
to
who
kill
they
me.
are, though. No, they try to kill everybody.
Do
They're,
they try to kill you?
yeah.
And yet they're your friends? Are you going to try to kill me because we're friends? Is that what's going on here?
No. I want you to get the gifts that we have.
Well, I'll take the bike, that's for sure. You owe me at least that much.
It's yours. At this point, Nee pulls up. God damn, you guys are fast.
You still haven't learned how to ride in all this time.
It's my inner ear thing.
Okay. So, Dutch was catching me up on where you guys have been for the last year, helping the loop. What else? What's going on?
They're not from the loop. Nee
What?
looks over at Dutch like he said something out of turn. Did he tell you they tried to kill us? They tried to
Yep.
kill us.
Mm-hmm.
It made Chris crazy.
What did they do?
Showed him the truth.
The truth? About what?
The world's going to end.
How does it end?
Big boom.
Where does that happen?
The loop.
Mm-hmm. So how are you supposed to help them?
We make sure it happens.
Why do they want the world to end?
I'm not real. And Nee kind of looks over at Dutch. Roll me and empathize.
Okay. I have 0. Okay. 1 success. Okay.
When you
I'll
you
take
you
it.
turn around and close enough to see that Dutch is basically giving him the shut up look. And Nee kind of just looks down. Before he goes completely quiet, Nee says, we're the good guys. And
Right.
Dutch looks at you. We are.
Of course you are. Absolutely. Shannon is not convinced, but she's gonna try to play it off like she is.
We can
So-
show you.
Okay, sure. Show me.
He looks around. Walk with me. And he just lets the bike drop as if it's nothing.
Sure. So I don't have it on today, but Shannon's gonna kind of fiddle with the dog tags that she always wears, and she's gonna drop it right next to the bike, trying to do it sneakily.
Sure, roll me a sneak.
3 successes.
You place them there perfectly. Neither Nee nor Dutch react at all.
Okay. It would have her father's name, by the way, so everybody knows. It's his old military dog tags from training. All right. Lead the way.
Just right down here. And he starts walking, and as he takes a couple steps forward, he reaches back and puts his hand out.
She grabs his hand.
It is very cold. He takes you down and the canyon continues to narrow until it's about 15 yards, but then you see it open up in kind of like a fan, and you see the county road run across a bridge over top of it. Takes you right to this intersection beneath this like iron framework bridge, and roll me a force.
Okay. 4 successes.
You can feel him as he kind of guides you to a spot, but you're able to stop if at any point as he's trying to like move you around. It's almost like he's turning you towards him to like embrace. But you have, with 4 successes, you don't have to do that. What do you do?
How close is knee?
Knee's falling back. He's still with the bikes.
Oh. What's around me?
You just have the iron framework bridge up above, and you have just 2 kind of blank stone walls of the canyon on either side, maybe about 15 yards apart. It's very narrow, but then it opens up into a fan on the other side.
I think Shannon will kind of like pull away out of like making it look like she's curious about the area around her and be like, so what's over here? What random
Like
canyon?
Are you going over to like one of the walls?
Yeah,
or?
yeah.
Okay.
Like just
Roll me an investigate as you go over to the wall.
2 success.
You get over there, and just as you say, so what's so special about, as you touch the canyon wall, your hand passes through the stone as if it were fog or a dream. And you realize that as you walked away, Dutch took several steps back towards knee, and he looks and raises an eyebrow and says, I had to show you. And you feel a explosion of white liquid splash through from underneath this blank stone, and it carries you to the opposite side and through the canyon wall beneath the bridge. And you are in a tube rushing to points unknown. Mitch, you are riding a skateboard. And because of your earlier success, you saw this happen. As you are approaching the ironwork bridge, you see Shannon get lanced by this glowing white liquid and disappears into a rock wall. There is a column, a floating river that is now spanning between the 2 canyon walls. It's rushing like a fire hose between 2 blank pieces of rock. But Shannon is gone, and Dutch and Nee are there, but you've already seen them.
Is the road I'm on the same road?
It's about 15, 20 feet above, and it goes across the top. Like if you continued on your road, you would skateboard across the bridge.
All right, with 2 successes from previous, I think I've learned the mechanics of how, at least in theory, a skateboard works. And I'm going to lean heavy on one side, the side that pulls us towards wherever Shannon just gets sucked into. He's going to try to Wile E. Coyote right into the same spot on the wall.
Okay. Roll me a move, and you get a +2 because you are in sync with Charlie.
Okay. +2. Fucking 2 successes.
How do you do it?
Thanks, Butts. All those moves. I think that's it. Like he is far more comfortable on it now, and he sees it happen. And I think like he just has a second. He just like looks at her and then just leans back, and it's enough to bend the board the direction they need to go, and they just start kind of coasting down towards that thing. And he's aiming for this tunnel, kind of without saying anything, just dragging this random skateboard girl along for the ride. Hoping she doesn't bail off and completely throw the balance of the board.
Okay. So as you go in, and she realizes at the last second what you're doing, because she thought you were aiming at the bridge, and then you kind of go right off the bridge embankment towards this. And you hear her yell kind of backwards, oh shit, as the 2 of you go off and into the water. You splash into it and are whisked away. But as you do, you see Dutch's head rip around as you hit the water and get sucked in. And you cannot see whether or not he pursues as you are in the tube.
I really want like a Terminator-esque just as I float by.
Oh yeah, it's real quick. Yes, you get sucked in. Yeah, absolutely. If you want to pitch a finger to his direction, yeah,
that's my bonus for the for the second success on move. Is I quickly
as you are keeping yourself kind of above the floating river, you fire the bird off, and not even knowing the context, Charlie fires one off too. As the two of you kind of go into the tunnel, birds akimbo. Let's cut back to Jerry, George, and Rob. You all are rocketing through these tunnels. Everybody, I want you to queue up a little bit of Spectre Generals. Nothing's going to stand in our way. As everybody is inside this various points of this crystal tube that is being fired with what Jerry heard Reggie call energon. Jerry, you're flying down through this. You can see Reggie and Veronica ahead. Veronica has started to move. She looks back at you. Is there anything you're trying to do to kind of close the distance?
No, probably not. Jerry had a lot of confidence last year. Like he had superpowers. There were things going on with him. And that all kind of got put on the back burner after some home problems. Jerry's finding himself again, but he's much more mundane and happy that way. So I imagine he's just riding this out, yelling, Veronica, don't give up.
Roll charm.
That's one success.
As Reggie and Veronica are twisting through this, it's very difficult to kind of keep your orientation in this as you're kind of just getting whipped around. You see her reaching back towards you as she's trying to close the gap to, she's pushing off of Reggie and like reaching back up the sluiceway towards you. George, Rob, George, you come next, going down on your butts, and Rob going down like Pete Rose. With the two you trying to do, you can see Jerry, you hear Jerry yelling, but you're kind of floating above the water. It's just the water is rushing at an incredible rate.
I don't know if there's much I can do. I mean, if I could swim or pencil, if I need to, go stiff and make me go faster, then I'll try that.
Yeah, roll a move for me.
All right. One success.
Nice. You pull up beside Jerry as the two of you are in this big 5-6 foot wide. You're able to pull kind of right up beside him as Jerry is yelling for Veronica. Jerry, you see Butts pull right up beside you as he's sliding with you. Your friend has followed you in. Rob?
Yeah, same. I'm gonna torpedo. Still head first.
Yep.
2 successes.
Okay, so with 2 successes,
I can't stop.
you get up to both Jerry and George, but with your second success, because you already guessed it, I'm going to let you hug somebody.
All right, as I'm going past, and I don't want to go too far past, I'm going to grab Jerry and hug him. It's more along. It's not intentionally like, oh, I want to give Jerry a hug. It's more of a, oh shit, and I'm trying to grab onto him so I don't end up slingshotting past everybody.
We're gonna stick with, and everybody, Spectre General's ending. So immediately have that start back over. Put it on repeat. We're gonna stick with Rob, as Rob kind of grabs hold of Jerry as he rockets past. Jerry, you hear in your ear, "Arise, Ironhide." And power comes from Rob. And Jerry, for the first time since you beat Devastator, You feel the electricity come back through you. And Rob, you see the electricity lance between Jerry's eyes, and you can feel the hair on your own arms rise up despite the liquid. You can feel and you both are rocketing through, but Jerry, you're almost levitating through the water now as energy is lancing and hitting the sides of this crystal tube as Jerry is getting a portion of Prime's power. Shannon, you are rocketing through some type of crystal tube. As you roll and spin and kind of smash against this clear glass, you dip below and then you pop back up, kind of keeping yourself above water. Roll me and investigate.
Okie dokie. I'm going to push the roll.
Sure.
2 successes.
Nice. Shannon, as you one of these times you get thrust behind as you hit like an elbow in the crystal and you spin for a second, and it's almost, for everybody involved here, it seems like it's instantaneous, but you're not sure how long you're actually traveling through these dark tubes. You only have the orientation of the light, that this kind of like bioluminescence that is made up of this liquid. And as soon as it takes this jarring turn, Shannon, you're kind of smashed against the glass for a second. And as you look through it, you can see additional light. You can see another room, a large, wide open space. You can actually see elements of the loop, the coiled curve of the reactor disappearing into different areas. And you see George's dad. And George's dad is standing there, and he seems to have some type of energy baton. It looks like a
Like the one
stick.
I saw before?
Yeah. And as he turns and steps aside, you see your father naked from the waist up on his knees as he turns and smashes down on the back of your dad's collarbone, and you see his shoulder give as it breaks. And just as that happens, your dad's eyes look up and he sees you sliding through the glass. You have a moment, Shannon. What do you do? He sees you.
What do I do? I think she's just gonna yell as loud as she can, "Dad, fight."
And as you yell that, you can hear your own voice reverberating in the area. And Mitch, without the need for an investigate roll, you hear this yell from Shannon as it kind of bounces back into the tube where you are, maybe 30, 40 yards back in the tube with Charlie. And as everyone's rocketing down, you yell this. You're not sure if he hears, but he sees you. And as he sees you, you see for a moment your father smiles, and then you can't hear it, but you see him roar as and you see George's dad turn back around. And as he brings that glowing saber down again, you disappear from the room. Mitch, roll me an investigate.
Zero successes.
For a moment, you realize that you're in the same situation, a crystal tube, as you're rushing down through this bioluminescent fluid. You look out and you see that there is a shirtless man for a moment, but you don't make any type of connection. You get twisted and turned, and you can't really get the entire area. You can't see anything else. There's a lot of things going on here. But for a moment, you get turned upside down, and you're looking at the top of this room that you're rushing through, and you see the word Alta. ALTA, and then you are whisked through.
Like,
unless you want to try something
on the tube, or like in the room.
In the room.
Okay, got it. Yeah, no, he won't. There's too much going on. He'll just get sucked back right through the tube.
Let's cut back to George, Rob, and Jerry as you are now riding with the supernova known as Jerry Baker. Veronica sees what's going on, and she's pushing against Reggie and reaching up towards everybody as you're dipping and dropping down these areas. She's kicking, and Reggie begins to pull free as he has one hand up on his ear, and he keeps screaming, "They're in the Energon! They're in the Energon!" Rob, Jerry, George?
I don't know who should go first here. I think
don't know.
Jerry.
I know that's a good name for our folk band. Rob, Jerry, George. Hi, we're
I
Rob,
thought you
Jerry,
meant,
George.
I don't know who should go first.
Oh,
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 no.
gross.
Well, I'm gonna default to Jerry going first
Yeah.
since he's got the superpowers.
He's got the power.
He's got the touch.
He's got
You
the
guys have probably seen a different Jerry in the last little while, but this is a bit of the old guy. He seems to realize what's going on. Greg, there was a moment with a certain Chief Rugen when Jerry could feel the gun apart from himself.
Mm-hmm.
I assume Veronica still wears copious amounts of jewelry and things like that. Can Jerry feel that?
Sure.
Can Jerry attract that to himself in a way he did with a weapon before?
Robimus Prime rolled a 5 earlier. You can certainly try.
I would like to try.
Go for it. Roll me a force.
I can do that. That's 2 successes.
As she was pushing away from Reggie, everybody play a little heart and soul for me, would you please? As she was pushing away, just as she reaches for you, Jerry, you do, but there's still 10, 15 feet between the two of you. But then there isn't. As you feel her hand rush into yours, you hear Reggie yell out as he gets whipped into a different tube. And just as he disappears, he locks eyes with George and he says, "Shockwave, help me!" George, what do you do?
I'm sorry, Butts is Shockwave? You spying ass bitch!
Turns out, guys, I'm a bad guy. Apparently. I'll try to move up to him.
You're going to try to move up to Reggie?
Yeah, I'll try to catch up to him.
Roll me a move.
I will push it. I got 0 successes, but I'm going to push it.
Sure.
Oh, fuck. 1 success.
You get to him just as he's getting sucked away in a different tube. You see that he's kind of getting pulled up and away. It must have been his intent to take that tube, but he gets pulled up and away as the rest of you are kind of going in the other direction of the Y. You get to him and can touch him. What do you do?
Where's Veronica in this? Is she still attached to him, or did she break off?
No, Jerry has Veronica.
her?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you do? What do you do, Butts?
Yeah, Butts, what do you do?
What do you do?
Yeah.
So
Have you been practicing your fucking marbles, Butts?
I have not. As far as I know, I'm still a good guy. So I'm going to try to boot him in the face or kick him in the face and make him go that opposite direction, that off in that other tunnel.
Roll me a excuse me, God. Roll me a force.
1 success.
You are able to throw your boot into his face as he's reaching for you. Your Shockwave, help me. And you crack him, reward him for his efforts. And you see him kind of roll back and spiral into the tube up and off to the left. As the 3 of you, well, 4 of you, now that Veronica's with you, continue down this path, there is another tube that enters into yours, and you see Shannon fly in among you. All of a sudden, Shannon is with Rob and George and Jerry and Veronica. And a moment later, 2 other people, as Mitch and Charlie, erupt into this very same tube. The tube continues to it gets wider and wider until it's almost the size of a river. And this river is rushing through this sluiceway, and you kind of emerge at the end of it. And everybody roll me an investigate.
I got a 3.
You got a 2.
Most of us are on tonight.
Yeah, Rob, Shannon,
Damn.
Jerry, you see this as you enter into this larger area, all kind of doing the Toy Story 3 thing, as you're all kind of holding on to one another as you're riding through this area. Rob, you're the first to see that as soon as you enter into this larger river, a huge blue wave rushes from behind and it's catching up to you. It's almost like you're surfing and this thing is a wall of rain or a wall of water that's coming up from behind to swallow you all up. Rob, since you had the most, what do you do?
Are we stopped at this point? Are we just kind of like?
No,
floating
you're
in
still
place,
moving.
moving?
You're still moving pretty fast. Yeah.
Jerry, take my hand. And he's gonna try to grab Jerry's hand. Let's try to stop this thing. And he's gonna try to Jedi mind force this thing to stop because he has no idea what the hell is going on.
Roll force, Jerry. Roll force.
Just Jerry's the only one he's seen use powers, and he used powers accidentally when he punched something last time. Force, right? Ooh.
And it finally fails.
I got luck.
Go for it.
No double luck.
I got 1 as well.
1 success. Yeah,
And 1 success.
We lucky boys.
So as you both start to do this, Jerry, you're still exhibiting this power that's kind of lancing and arcing off of you. Meta, I don't know what shape Shannon's in after what she just saw, but we're going to say that you're at the very least in contact with everybody as I assume somebody would have a hold of Shannon as you're all kind of like crashed together, or you're touching somebody, you know, just by proximity. As you go through this, Jerry, you begin to kind of like reach out like you did before. It's very difficult. There's nothing to grab. But you feel yourself being able to control this kind of shift a little bit, like a piece of flotsam or jetsam. Rob, roll me and investigate.
Okay. Investigate. 0 successes. You know what? We're at the end. I have 1 more luck. I clicked it. Do it. Oh, yep, 2.
Rob, as you kind of concentrate like you know Jerry would, you see your vision almost pink for a moment. You see it go red, and you realize that it has the same quality as it did whenever you wore your helmet. And as you spin, you see all of your friends. But when you look at Mitch, it says Wheeljack. When you look at Jerry, it says Ironhide. When you look at Shannon, it says Grimlock. And when you look at George, it says Shockwave.
Of course it does. Of course it does. Absolutely. Of course it does. Of course it does.
Jerry, you try everything you can, but the wave hits you. The wave smashes into all of you. You don't feel pain. You don't feel anything being electrocuted or any type of detriment to what is happening right now. But I had to quickly move something over to the playlist so I wouldn't spoil it. As you hit, this wall hits you, I would like everybody to cue up the song at the very bottom of the playlist, Nothing But a Good Time by Poison. As the wave hits, all of you kind of have that white phase that you had whenever Gary took the stage and mesmerized the crowd. You're all lying on your backs. And when you open your eyes, you see slats of light. You hear cheering. It takes you all a moment to realize you are under the bleachers at Edgar Allan Poe Middle School. And when you sit up, on the either side of all of you, Veronica is with you, Charlie is with you, two other shapes sit up, and you see Van Halen and Chris as they sit up and look around. And Van Halen listens to the sounds and the song coming through the speakers of Poison. And she says, I love this song. And then she stands up and she gets on her tiptoes and she whispers up through the seats, thank you, and stay ready. And on the top of the stands, Ricky hears. That's where we're going to end tonight's Atari Twilight.
Son of a bitch. Guys. Man, if you guys haven't seen the one-shot, you're missing out. Because that ties directly into the one-shot. So if you haven't caught it yet, go to the YouTube. It's in the playlist, in this playlist. It's up there now. Catch it, comment, do all the things on YouTube. That was nuts. I'm still taking notes. Spoilers, the next episode opens with a montage of Mitch losing his fucking mind. It's just straight up Charlie Day. Yeah, let's go around, do our introductions, and get the hell out of here. I feel like we have a lot to discuss in the after show. So if you guys want to see the after show, join us on Patreon and get that as a $10 tier. It is worth your time. We'll start with Butts himself. Mike, you traitor among robots. Who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? What are you up to?
So you can find me on Twitter at BalloonSnap. I don't really tweet. I retweet a lot of stuff, and I like a lot of stuff. That's really it. If you're into video games like Modern Warfare or Steam or whatever, just message me on Discord. I'm usually down to game for almost anything. I honestly don't know if I'm a good guy or bad guy at this point. My actions speak louder than the words. I tried to trip the guy up, and then I kicked him in the face. So far my actions are on the good side. So we'll see though. Maybe it's all up front. Maybe I'm trying to I'm over projecting my good deeds.
Fucking butts. Man, let's go with Mr. Bitters, because you're clearly not ready for it. Who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? What are you up to?
I'm Mr. Bitters. I hate everything. You can't find me on the internet. I mean, you probably can, but there's no point. Just catch me in that Discord, Atari Twilight, and come back here next week and watch. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Let's go with Meta. Who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? What are you up to?
I'm Metamancer. I'm tired and there's a lot to process, but you guys can find me on Twitter primarily. I have my own Discord community as well, but pretty much just do tabletop roleplay stuff.
Hell freaking yeah.
I have
okay.
no words. I'm good.
Frags, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? What are you up to?
Yeah, I'm KW Frags. You can find me on Twitter sometimes, posting stuff, I guess, or playing Call of Duty with Rhino. The last few minutes have been spent Googling, was Shockwave ever an Autobot? Which I can say it doesn't look good. So that's where I'm at. But he
was 100% a spy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that's yeah. I'm watching you. I got my eye on your butts.
Wow.
I mean, you always did.
Okay.
Really nice butts.
With that, Greg, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? What are you up to?
I'm Greg. You can find me here. And over on Laugh Love Lindy doing a Witcher game. We're off tomorrow, but we'll be back in a week from tomorrow. I have a blast playing with everybody. I'm sorry I threw an incredible amount at you. I wanted to get us to a specific point because we have 2-hour chunks and we only have so many episodes and we have fun things that are happening. Next week is episode 4, Beetlejuice. See you next week.
I'm not ready for it. What I will say is I dropped a little fun exclusive at the end of the episode, the one-shot, and I will confirm here, Season 3. Confirmed. That's it. We're going to go do the Patreon after show. If you guys want to catch that, join us over on Patreon. If you want to subscribe, do that. Join us in the Discord. Be a part of the conversation. More specifically, be a part of the writer's room for this. That's where the people for the one-shot got pulled from, right from the Discord. So if you want a chance at that, could be. But we're out of here. From all of us, you guys, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.